What's up, everyone? It's your girl Shay here. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. As you can see by the title of today's video, I'm actually going to be doing another ranking for you guys, and this one is once again anime related. This one's actually going to be a ranking of all the childhood anime that I have watched or that I have seen, and basically I'm just going to be ranking them. I have 10 of them on the list that I have, so yeah, let's get started with this ranking, and I hope you guys enjoy this. All right, so here's the list that I have. So here are the rankings or the tiers that I have. So the first one is epitome of my childhood, which pretty much means this show basically defines my entire childhood. Next one below that is this show was awesome, which means I enjoyed the show, but it wasn't didn't express my childhood like it did the first one. Next one is it was all right, which is like it was meh, it was okay. Next is it could have been better or could have been better. And last is trash. So this is basically like a childhood show that I just did not enjoy, didn't like. And I can already tell you guys right now, probably none of these are probably going to make it to trash because a majority of these I did somewhat enjoy. So I have 10 shows on this list, like I said before. The shows I have are Sailor Moon, Hamtaro, Inuyasha, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, the original one, Dragon Ball Z, Digimon, Yu Hakusho, Cardcaptor Sakura, and also Ronin Kitchen. So the first one I have is Sailor Moon, and I am obviously going to put Sailor Moon on epitome of my childhood because that show was awesome. Now, Sailor Moon was the first anime I ever watched. I watched it when I was like 6 years old. I remember coming home from school every day and watching it. And I just have such distinct memories of watching this during my childhood. I remember crying on the very last episode of the first season when the Sailor Scouts fight Queen Beryl. And I just remember falling in love with this show and obviously having some unreal expectations of what middle school was going to be like because of course the main characters were in middle school. So yeah, obviously love this show, still love this show to death. I love this show so much. So definitely epitome of my childhood is where that's gonna go. Next is Hamtaro, and I'm gonna go with could have been better. And this is just because of the fact that for Hamtaro, I think when it was kind of coming out, I was kind of, I don't want to say outside the age range, but it just wasn't a show that clicked for me. I just remember it coming on WB. I remember it coming on like Saturday mornings, and I would watch it after like Pokemon or something, but I wasn't really into it. It wasn't a show that I was just like, oh my God, this show is amazing. It wasn't like, oh, I need to watch this every Saturday. It just kind of was on, and it was like a meh, but it could have been better, I guess, because it just never caught my interest. So sorry Hamtaro, and sorry for those of you that really enjoyed Hamtaro. Next on this list is Inuyasha, and I'm gonna go with this show was awesome only because of the fact that I remember watching this on Adult Swim. It always came on super late, and I started watching this when I was like in like high school age, and I rewatched it probably like right before going into college where I was able to see every single episode. But before that, Inuyasha was a show that I loved. I thought it was great, but since it came on Adult Swim, it came on at like 12 or 12:30, and at that time it was so hard for me to stay up that late. Like I would fall asleep always right before it came on, but anytime I did catch it, I absolutely loved it. Although I was very upset when I finally watched all of it and saw that it didn't have an ending. I was a total Inuyasha and Kagome fan. I was a fan of the ship of them together. So yeah, I had to put this at this show was awesome because it was definitely a show that was for a much older crowd and wasn't like Sailor Moon or any of the other shows that I had watched when I was like a kid, like when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Next on this list is YuGiOh, and I'm gonna go with it was all right. And I'm doing this based off of the fact that my cousins were super into Yu-Gi-Oh. They loved watching the show, they loved having the card game. Even now, my fiance also really loves Yu-Gi-Oh. Me personally, it never clicked for me with Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I knew the characters' names, I knew what the show was about, but it wasn't a show that I was heavily like enjoyed. I did rewatch it when I was in college, and then I kind of saw what more of the hype was about and enjoyed it a little bit more. But during the age of like middle school, when everyone was super into Yu-Gi-Oh, I just wasn't into it. But I did enjoy the card games. My favorite card that was like everyone's favorite, or maybe not everyone's favorite, but like the most popular one was the Blue Eyes White Dragon. That was the only card that I knew, and Dark Magician. That was it. But overall, it was an alright show. Just wasn't super into it. Next on here is Pokemon. And Pokemon was definitely an epitome of my childhood. I remember getting into Pokemon when I was like 9 years old. And I remember that it was strictly because of the fact when I was in 3rd grade, I had a group of boys that were in my class, and we had to, like, I don't know if you guys did this in like elementary school, where you had to like pot a plant and like help it grow. So we did that. We were in groups though, and these kids, these boys, named their plant Geodude, which obviously is based off of Pokemon. So I heard about it, started watching the show. So I was probably like maybe not 9 but like 8 when I started watching it, and I was obsessed with it. I watched it every Saturday morning. I dragged my parents to go watch the movies in theaters when the movie started coming out. I had the card game. I had the Pikachu stuffed animal that when you pressed its fingers, its like cheeks lit up and its ears moved. I had that. I absolutely loved Pokemon, and Pokemon was the only reason why for a period of time I would go to Burger King, because they had the Pokemon toys when Pokemon the first movie came out. So yes, this was an epitome of my childhood because it was a show that I was obsessed with, a show that I love so much, a show that I love talking about, like reading about, watching, all the above, and because I have such distinct memories of watching Pokemon. So Pokemon, definitely epitome of my childhood. Next one on this list is Dragon Ball Z, and I once again have to put this as epitome of my childhood. This was a show that my brother was heavily into, so I would watch it with him. So just like with the other two that are on like in that tier, I have such distinct memories of watching that show. I also remember rewatching Dragon Ball Z when it started airing on Toonami. When they started airing like the, what's it called, the Frieza arc. And I remember watching it because I wanted to see Goku turn Super Saiyan. So I was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z. I loved it. My brother definitely though was more obsessed than I was. I enjoyed watching it with him. I loved how exciting it was. I also liked how different it was, because for me at that point, the only anime that I really connected with a lot at that time was either it was mostly just Sailor Moon or Pokemon, but both those shows were so different from Dragon Ball Z that the action in Dragon Ball Z was amazing. So once again, epitome of my childhood. Next one is Digimon, and I'm gonna go with, it was all right. And I know this is mostly because like during the time that Digimon started coming out, you as a kid in elementary school, you either were like team Digimon or like team Pokemon. And I liked Pokemon much more than Digimon. I didn't like the names in Digimon. And especially as like the show like progressed and it got to like multiple seasons to where the kids were becoming Digimon, I just completely just lost interest. I never really watched like whole entire seasons of Digimon. Like I only really remember the first season the most with the original cast or the original like characters, I guess. And I remember when the Digimon movie came out, and I absolutely loved the Digimon movie. Honestly, I really did enjoy it. But I'm gonna just go with it's all right, only because like with Pokemon, like I guess it's just mostly because of the fact that kind of like with YuGiOh, I liked the show, but I wasn't that obsessed with it to where I felt like I had to watch it all the time that it was on. I would watch it if it was on, but yeah, I wasn't that invested in the show, I guess what I'm trying to say. Next is going to be Yu Hakusho, and I'm gonna go with this show was awesome. So Yu Hakusho was actually one of the first shows I actually started watching on Toonami outside of Dragon Ball Z, and that was when it was like my first foray into other anime besides like Sailor Moon or like Pokemon and stuff like that. And I remember watching it because of the simple fact that it was coming on next after Dragon Ball Z, and I had never watched Yu Hakusho before, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit here and watch this show. I wonder what it's about, and it happened to be the very first episode of Yu Hakusho, and I absolutely loved it. I actually owned the entire series on DVD when they started re-releasing it, and I love it. Although I will say the reason why it still is awesome, but I have to say honestly, when it got to like the last few seasons, like when it got to the point where like Yusuke was like literally everything, kind of like how Ichigo is, I kind of like, I still liked it. I thought it was still a great show, but it just wasn't my favorite arc. My favorite arc has to be though the Dark Tournament arc is still my favorite arc of all time in Yu Hakusho. Next show is Cardcaptor Sakura, and I'm gonna go with it's all right, only because I watched it, but it wasn't like my favorite show. just like with Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh, I wasn't invested in it. I knew who the characters were. I knew like the episodes and stuff. I knew the main premise of it, but I just wasn't super into it. I did rewatch Cardcaptor Sakura when I got into college, and that time I watched it subtitled, and I liked it a lot better because the voices fit a lot more. The names weren't changed. So yeah, still gonna go with It's Alright because I'm basing this off of like how I felt as a child. So It's Alright with Cardcaptor Sakura. And last one, but not least on this list, is Ronin Kitchen, and I'm gonna put it under this show was awesome. And that is because once again, just like with Yu Hakusho, Ronin Kitchen came on after Yu Hakusho. So I was like, well, I want to sit here and watch this show, which once again, it turned out to be the first episode. I don't know how ironic that is that I caught first episodes of 2 new shows that I had never seen before. And I absolutely loved it. I liked the main premise of it. I liked the action that was involved. It really brought me back to like Dragon Ball Z vibes, kind of like just because of the action that was there. But yeah, I thought the show was awesome. Although I will have to say that when I got into like college age, I did rewatch it, or I rewatched it before going into college, and then I started watching the OVAs and stuff like that, and I liked the OVAs, but I didn't like the characterization of Kenshin in those ones. But just going based off of the TV show and me watching it when I was in like middle school, I loved it. I thought it was great. I was a huge ship for Kaoru and for Kenshin. I wanted them to get together, and I loved the show. So yeah, overall, that is pretty much this ranking. So let me list what we have here for the rankings. First one is Epitome of My Childhood, which I have Sailor Moon, Pokemon, and Dragon Ball Z. Next was This Show Was Awesome, which I have Inuyasha, Yu Hakusho, and Ronin Kitchen. Next is It Was Alright, which I have YuGiOh, Digimon, and also Cardcaptor Sakura. And Could Have Been Better, I have Hamtaro. So let me know what you guys think of this list. Let me know like how you guys feel about it. And let me know like if you guys, for some reason, if you agree or disagree with what I have on this list. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, I have links below to all my social media accounts. I have my Instagram, my Twitter, and of course my TikTok. It is all links down below in the description box. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And of course, please subscribe if you haven't already. And also feel free to leave comments for any videos that you guys would like to see in the future. So like I always tell you guys, stay positive, stay nerdy, and today's day and age, stay healthy. And of course, please stay safe. All right, you guys, bye.